Hey everybody, welcome to the show. 2025, Happy New Year. Let's make it the best ever. I know some of you didn't do as well as you hoped in 2024. Let's reflect on what we did and make it better. Got to do it starting today. It's 2025. We can make it the best ever. And welcome all my channel members: Rob, Mark, Dan, Don, Donald, David, Ted, Rex, JB, Frank, Svenborn, Ed, General Rush, Diane, Will, Mad, David. Good to see everybody. Ted, Arturo, and Rongamer. Welcome to the stream. It is 2025. Things are a little optimistic in the futures market this morning. China had the worst start to the year since 2016. Whew. Chinese market, kind of a bloodbath. And jobs came in light. That's the unemployment claims, I should say. Unemployment claims came in light. Good, right? This is still holiday week. You can't expect full volume, full trading, full excitement to kick in today or tomorrow. It'll be Monday before we're kind of back to normal. And, well, it may not, we'll see what happens. We do have the inauguration coming up here in a couple weeks on the 20th. It's already the 2nd. Holy moly, that's 18 days away, I guess. And things are going to get spicy. Things are going to get really spicy. I have a feeling in 2025. I posted in Discord and threw it over to Telegram how most of the investment banks are pretty darn optimistic looking at 2025. I don't know. I think we're going to see some volatility. That's what I think is going to happen. Why? Well, it just kind of the way it all works, you know? And speaking of China getting kind of a bloodbath, let's pull this over and share the screen. Check this out right here. These companies have the highest exposure to China right here. And maybe I should throw me on the other side so you can see all the names. Right here, this is the percentage of their revenue derived from China. I think it's an interesting chart. You can let me know what you think right here. Cirrus Logic, Qualcomm, 46% of Qualcomm's revenues from China. These could be hit pretty hard if retaliations on tariffs occur. Is there some to keep in mind right here? Like Nvidia down here, Apple. Seeing some big ones, seeing some big names in here. AMD, 15%. Even eBay. You wouldn't think of eBay doing a bunch of business in China, but Intel, look at that. Intel, 27% of the revenue comes from China. So this is one to be aware and cognizant of as we come into the Trump administration. The tariffs come up and you've got some big exposure to any of these. There could be retaliation against sales in that country, and you could see a knee-jerk reaction from bots and things like that. So I thought it was one of those things that you might want to keep in mind. Now, the charts tell the truth, but if you want to look at risks and things that can get you, I feel like all of a sudden China cutting off the sales for a company, it's kind of one of those surprise events that's probably going to have a detrimental effect, at least in the short term. So I thought it was worth at least looking at the list here. So if you've got exposure to these, you may want to think about it. Now, Tesla right there. That's an interesting one right in the middle. 22%. They use China as a lot of their manufacturing hub for producing those vehicles that go to other places too. So we'll see. I mean, Musk is kind of Trump's right-hand dude, but they also just built a Megapack facility in record time that basically doubled the capacity of the company to make power Megapacks. These are, like 4 megawatt power stations that are the size of a container, like a shipping container. And they can make, I guess the factory's supposed to be able to pump out like 10,000 of those a year. That's a lot. when you start thinking about it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. This is going to be an interesting shakeout. That's what I think. It's going to be how all this shakes out. Is Trump just playing hardball? And we'll see. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Now, looking at the calendar, the rest of the week here, we got the unemployment claims came in light. We get some PMI later after the market opens. Then tomorrow we get some ISM manufacturing PMI tomorrow while the market's open. And that's kind of the wrap on the week. Not a lot happening. Not a lot crappening. Next week, dun, 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 firing it off down here. Monday's pretty benign. Roll into Tuesday, another benign day. So we're not going to start out very spicy. Then we get some unemployment change. We get some FOMC meeting minutes on Wednesday. We get some unemployment claims like we do every week on Thursday. And then Friday, we get the jobs report right there that typically comes out the first Friday of the month. But since this is like tomorrow's the 3rd and it's right after a big holiday week, they're going to wait till next week and throw this out there. So it'll be interesting right there. Are they going to keep telling the truth since Trump's taken over, or are they going to keep baking the numbers? We'll see. We'll see. They're all made up anyway. Lax it up. Sledge is out there in Nashville too. Just down the road. I'm in Knoxville. Sunny Knoxville, Tennessee. All right. We all just want to know what's moving, right? What's moving and what's shaking? What do we pay attention to today? That's really what, I mean, let's face it. We could talk big picture all day long, but how do you make money today? That's the important part, right? How do you make money today? So look at the S&P. It's got me concerned. That move on Friday definitely dipped lower than I wanted to see it go. Or Friday on a Tuesday, right? That dipped lower, but it was still a higher low than the day before on Monday. So question mark, was it just the end of the year flush out? This is still in the realm of bullishness that we can go higher. That bigger resistance is still up there, like I mentioned. Watch out. All the things I talked about. If we rally back up there, that 618, if you missed Tuesday's conversation, it was more evident on the futures charts. We've got that resistance coming up right up here. We did make a lower low nominally on futures. Just barely. So here's the resistance, right? Same place, basically, for futures. ES, if you've never looked at this, this is the S&P 500 futures. If you're in TradingView, ES1 exclamation point. If you're in any other platform like Thinkorswim or, even on Tasty Trade or whatever, it's usually /ES to get you there. And why do I watch futures? Because they've been trading since 6 p.m. yesterday. They reopened 6 p.m. yesterday, and we've got overnight price action. S&P 500 doesn't open for 5 more minutes. So this kind of looking nice. Like, look how much we ground down. Like, we broke down below the roadmap line right here on the 15-minute back on the 27th. And we went down and retested there on the 31st and then continued into that low right there. Now, we kind of opened this morning down here and we've been rallying up. We broke through it, back testing it. If we can continue higher, that move can take us right there really quickly. Then we'll test it and see. If we turn down from there, remember, all the things I said Tuesday still apply. If we can break above it, probably cruising on up here, new all-time highs, right there. Simple as that right now. Simple as that. Picture's relatively clear on the ES right now. And NQ, pretty much kind of the same thing. Back testing a little deeper than I wanted to see. We got pretty spicy on the jobs report, and then all of a sudden it turned a little sour. I'd like to see this turn and burn and keep going higher. But we do that same 618 retrace we're going to have to contend with coming up. That will be, let me just redraw it here. This high, this low. It's right in there. Right around 21,730. which is funny enough, right where that consolidation was right there. So that is the resistance we've got to get through to go higher. All the things I said Tuesday, if we come up there, find resistance, turn down, we are more than likely going to the daily roadmap line. All right, daily roadmap line, just to rehash, refresh. If you're new here, welcome to the conversation. We kind of keep this going all the time. Here's the daily roadmap line for NQ, right down here, around 20,000. Here's the one for ES, right down here. Got the box, right around 5,700. Right in there. We may see a dip a little bit lower to the low 5,600s. Russell, same situation. Same resistance right up here around 2,300. And we could flush it on down. That one's already hit the daily roadmap line, so this would be an extension lower. If we rallied up here in the coming days, found resistance, and then turned down violently, that would be the target right there. Right there. Oil, trying its darndest. Look at that move. Right into the roadmap line. Can we get through? If we do, going higher. We've been watching this for a while. We do have this other high that may prove to be resistance right back over here. Coming in there, not really in a point that makes a lot of sense, but prior highs tend to be resistance. So if we can bust on through, watch for that resistance. Then we've got that one right above it, that one right above it, and that one right above it. This is where I thought we would have big picture up to 90 if we can get through. Now we may pop up, retest the roadmap line, and bounce like that. That'll be the point to add if we're going to be bullish. Now, this thing could just be a giant fake out. We pop up here, we crush it back down and make a lower low, and that low could be down all the way to 60 or even 50 if things got really sour really quickly. So be careful chasing this one. It's still very dangerous. This is a very dangerous pattern. It's set up right here. Very unreliable. Very, very unreliable. I thought we'd be right here into the inauguration, which we still might be. But we could be launching off. We'll see. See how optimistic the oil market is. GC. Oh, boy. Trying to save the pattern here. A really nice move so far. I like the fact it back tested. Pushing back higher than that high. If we can stick it, can get the continuation up above this resistance. Looks like 2,900 is probably going to be in the cards. This has had me really concerned for almost 2 weeks that we're going to do this big flush out right down here. We'll see. We have to continue doing stuff. We can't just, if you reject it now, probably going to head right down here. This turns sour today, gets back below this trend line, probably going to go down here. We can maintain it, get through this right here. 2,900 is probably where we're going. Just check in with our old buddy Silver. This makes me wonder, we are below the roadmap line right here. This could be a fake out and we get this one more flush right down in this zone around 28. Like that before we can find support and bounce. It's got me really cautious on Silver. I don't like this price action right here. Don't like this right here. Now, I did load an initial position over here. I'm waiting to add anything to it if we get this right there. If we don't get that and we actually start breaking out, getting above here, I'll probably add the rest of my position for that run. So there's the resistance right up there around 31.50 on SI. If you're just like, well, how does this relate to SLV? Just do the math, all right? Like, it's not that difficult. You just run the fib line from the high down to low, from the high down to low. You're like, here's one resistance at 28.18. Here's the other resistance up here at 29.50. Prior high, imagine that. We turn down at the, right there at it. And so there's resistance, and there's resistance. And here's the roadmap line, and we may go lower still. Where's the lower point? on this fib line. First move down, retrace. Next move down, somewhere down around 25 right there. If we're going to break down and go down, that'd be right there. Simple as that. Bitcoin, optimistically turning higher, but has the same exact pattern as ES and NQ. And Russell, as I talked about on Tuesday, that is a key resistance right around 101,000. If we don't get through it, if we come up here and find resistance, we can go all the way down to the daily roadmap line, and that is down there around that 78,000. Right there, 75 to 78,000. The spot market. Let's pull up the all-time history one. Spot market price right around 80, right there. So 101,000, and we could take it down to 80 if we find resistance. Be careful chasing this higher right at the moment. Stay nimble, stay quick. Take action if you don't want to write it down. All right, that's the warning. It's set up on the chart. We can get a flush. Freak everybody out right here in the new year. It doesn't have to find support there either. Like all these charts, like all these daily roadmap lines, we don't have to stop there. It's just a likely point where we might find supports. Could be doing something more sinister. Go further down. So definitely be careful. We're going to get a bigger flush. Start optimistic. We could get a rally for a couple days and then flush everybody out. We saw this in 2022. It's eerily similar to the way we kind of came into 2022. We got these exciting new higher highs, and then everything went. So Ethereum right here has that big resistance right there at 37. And it came up shy of the roadmap line. It got really close. I'm feeling like it might go hit it, but we'll see. Ethereum not nearly on as bullish a path as Bitcoin. Well, we're right up there at the extension. 109 is really the highest I thought we might go on the dollar. We'll see what happens here. I do not expect this to get much higher than this 618 zone. Now, it's possible that we could rally on up here to 111. I did draw that box back here, gosh, 2 years ago. It's possible we come on up here, get overexcited, and then turn down. But I think we're going to find resistance somewhere in this zone here, and then turn down. And that turn down probably going to take us lower low than we had any of these points right here. So probably going to be down in the mid-90s at least on the lower low. And that could take us the rest of the year to do that. So may not be a quick thing. NKD did not start out the most bullish and optimistic here. This is the Japanese stock market futures. And if you're like, why would you even pay attention to that? It's a global liquidity indicator for me. Right here, a blase start. Just, not really caring. This may hover and then go visit the bottom of the box. If we get below the bottom of the box, watch out for a bigger liquidation event in the U.S. market. If we can break out, watch for a bigger rally in the U.S. markets. Simple as that. Hanging out in the middle, more sideways would be my expectation. Just more sideways. All right. Now, I go pull all the gainers, everything moving $2 or more up, put it on the gainers list, everything moving $2 or more down in the pre-market, and put it on the decliners list. It is not live updated. You know, as the market opened here 5 minutes ago, I didn't change anything. The list was the list. I made it shortly after 9 o'clock. Anything that happened between when I made the list and now did not make it onto the list. So let's jump through, see if we can find any opportunities. FNGU, turning a little sour here. May come down to the target zone, like I speculated for several days now. Like this would be the retraced target zone, and then we could turn up again. Now it may come all the way down to the roadmap line. Also, we haven't been down there since all the way back here in September. FNG, or That was FNGU. ASML, I still think this is going to come down to the bottom of the box. Now, we do have resistance up here at the daily roadmap line. It could rally up there, turn down, and come down here. I have an alert sitting down here at 600. Kind of expecting it to do that. MSTR. If this doesn't go hit the roadmap line, this is like reinforces Bitcoin possibly going lower. This looks really like it wants to come down here. It's not even far away now. Be careful. All those other ones, MSTX, MSTU, they're going to get hit pretty hard. Come on. Cool. Come on. Oh my goodness. Come on. There we go. That could possibly come all the way down to like 15. Back to the lowest low. Be careful. It did paid a dividend right there on the 31st, 14 bucks. Whew. That's why I always say hold shares. That was a pretty sizable chunk of money came back out of that one. MSTU. This one can also experience a big flush. Be careful out there. Careful playing leverage. Leverage stuff. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Be careful. All right. Cyber Arc. Well, pushing up through resistance. Maybe up to like 3380. Get the words out of your mouth. Back up to, we could be looking at a pop up there. I mean, it's kind of climbing the fib ladder, right? Came up to the breakout, retraced, came up to the breakout again, retraced, came up to the extension, 1272, retraced, came up to the 1618, retraced, held the 1272, now going for the next fib extension, so 380. Now I can run out of steam anywhere in here and come all the way back to the roadmap line. You see that all the time, so be careful. Chasing that one higher, know where you're getting out if you're long. If you're trying to get into it now, you missed it. Just wait for another opportunity. Show me 100 charts, I'll show you 10,000 trades you missed. Coin, right here, probably going to bounce off the roadmap line. Could go deeper, down to the 618. Just kind of waiting on this to find support and turn higher. The next target up there around 427, possibly even up to 530, 600, 700. We'll see what happens. This might get really spicy as Bitcoin runs. Meta, that one looks like it wants to come back and visit the roadmap line on the daily right there. Net, it doesn't have to. None of these have to. It just, that's what looks like it wants to do. Now, if they do come down to the roadmap line, it sets up the high probability pattern, like Meta right there. If it comes down, if we can get the bounce, that high, this low, we break back up through the 618. We can go up to 655, 670, possibly even higher. So Cloudflare has the setup to get the extension on up here at this point. We put the 125, 134 area. Now it did, off of this initial move, it did hit the 1618. Now we're probably going to retrace before we can get the gusto to get on up there around 125, 134. GS, watch for money to flow into financials ahead of earnings coming up here, but not next week, but the week after. Yeah, the 16th. So that's coming up right there in 2 weeks. So we'll probably see some money flow into GS, MS, JPM, BAC, Wells Fargo, WFC. Probably see some money flow into these. That's typically the way it works. Every quarter we see money flow into the financials. As they start reporting their earnings, money flows out of financials and into big tech. And then we see big tech reporting earnings, and we see money flow out of big tech and disperse through other areas of the market. It's just the quarterly earnings cycle flow of money. That's just what we see. So, kind of expecting that. Is it tradable? Maybe. Maybe. FAS would be my weapon of choice if I was going to try to take advantage of it. It's already moved up off of the lows. We got to retrace, so this may, in the coming days here, we may see this rally on up a little bit. It may make a higher high, it may make a lower high, and then turn down and come down to the roadmap line. So opportunity may be big, it may be small. Can't really say for sure. It's funny, FAS was on the list. All right, and coming back up. AVGO looks played out. Watch for the retrace. CRWD. Watch for the roadmap line. This can come on down. It did bounce higher right there on the smaller time frame. It was a 1 hour bounce up to that 1272. Retrace, broke through the 1 hour roadmap line. So watch for the 4 hour support. If we break through the 4 hour, probably coming on down to the daily down here. App. Watch for that retrace. Bulls. Almost there. Not far to go now. Tesla. Oh, look at that. We did it. Did the thing I said we were probably going to do. I'll be hornswoggled. Well, that's right in the target. Couldn't got that closer. So watch for this to bounce now. Next target's up, 500. We're going to have to get the move up to the 618 level. So there's resistance at 440. Right there. We get through 440. Probably going on up to 500. Right like that. ADBE. There's the target. Microsoft. At the roadmap line. Can we hold it and bounce? Or are we going down here? Possibly even at lower down here. I don't know. We triggered the run up higher. So 480 is in the cards for Microsoft. As long as we don't start breaking below this uptrend of lows. Probably going up here. If we do, though, watch out for the bigger flush. If we start breaking down below the lows. GE Veranova, just been sideways for 2 months. Watch for this to retrace. Be careful. BitX, and watch for this to find resistance. At that 618 level, right around 63. We pop up there on Bitcoin, find resistance. This can come on down to that daily roadmap line. Also, CRM, watch for the flush. SPXL, almost like that looks like it wants to finish that up. So watch for that bounce on ES. This is a leveraged 3x leverage on S&P 500. So this could exasperate the move we see if we're going to get that continuation lower. SYNA at the resistance. Not really much we can glean from this at this moment. Lower highs stuck right here at the roadmap line. Might go lower. Be careful. BitU, same situation. 618 retrace and a flush on down to the roadmap line. What looks like it might be cooking. LNG, we've got this high, we've got this low, we're sitting at the 618. So watch out right there. If we turn down, back to the roadmap line, would be very, very easy to do. NG, this is just natural gas itself. We hit the $4 target that I said for, what, 2 years? This looks likely to come back to the roadmap line at this point. It just does. It just does. It just does. We're coming into the, even though it feels like we just started winter, as far as natural gas goes, we're coming into the end of the season already. See, the anticipation of coming into winter started back here. Rally, rally, rally. Now that we're into January, This is the end of the season for natural gas, and we may see this start retracing. It could go higher, but don't get trapped. Like, look over here. See, when we came into 2024, that was it. 2023, it was already started. We plummeted right down through February and into March. 2022 had some volatility, but it did retrace. Like after that spike, it retraced there. That was a lower high. But it didn't really start moving again until March. We didn't break higher until out here in March. 2021. We already gave it up back here in October. 2020, beginning of the year, decline into March. So we usually make that low around March. We make a low late February, March. 2019, you can see over here, this one just kept drifting off all the way into August. 2018, pullback. Mid-February, even into March. So we typically, it's a pattern that I've seen for years on natural gas. This tends to be the less bullish time of the year for natural gas between now and March. Just be careful thinking we're doing a breakout, getting sucked into this. It could rip you and rip your money. So be careful, especially if you're getting anything that's leveraged like oil. Be careful. If you're doing anything like UNG, be careful with your money. VRSN. Now, the thing that is kind of playing out for this one, Ukraine shut off all the Russian gas as of yesterday. So Europe's kind of in this hard spot where they can't get natural gas through the Ukraine pipelines from Russia. I don't know. We'll see what happens. VRSN. Well, that's just a big inside blob. There was the high, there was the low. So we've got this giant weekly chart watermelon seed squeeze thing cooking here. We can break out and go higher. Great. Watch out. This can be highly unreliable, just like oil. Could break out higher, could break out lower, could go sideways. Could just keep doing this for another 2 years. Unity. Video game industry had a hard time in 2024. Look at this right here. Woo. Started to recover a little bit for Unity. But a lot of video game development companies didn't exactly have the best 2024, even though this one hit a new all-time high, but it quickly took it right back. So getting some shakeout in the video game industry. So I'm not sure how much opportunity this is, but right there's the high, right there's the low. We get through that 618. We could ride on up to 30, possibly 31. Then we have this bigger resistance that it chopped sideways for almost 2 years up there. So getting above 60 might be tough, but 30, 31, not bad. DPST, back to the roadmap line. Maybe find support. Resistance up here. 144. 187, 199. If we can get above it. There's the conservative entry. That would be what I'm looking for. This is leverage. Be careful. I would not play options on this. This is regional banks. So this is not like FAS. This is regional banks. It's more of your FHN, FHB, FL, like all those smaller regional banks. SMH. Just kind of parked right here. It fired off an entry for a smaller time frame, which could rally on up here to this 265, 269 area, but it also could mess around here, break down below the roadmap line, and get a bigger flush. Very cautious. AI has not been the productivity booster for companies that it was kind of prophesized as. So there's not nearly as much AI spending going on. So companies are looking at their CapEx for building out infrastructure to do AI stuff. And they're considering, should we spend that big chunk of money we were thinking about on building AI infrastructure? How are we going to get the bang for the buck? The only real company I've seen that has a real usable product running on AI right now, Tesla. Their full self-driving is an AI stack. If you haven't ridden in it in the last couple weeks, find somebody with a Tesla, has 13.2.2. Try it out. It's pretty wild. TECL, back to the roadmap line. See this hold and turn higher possibly. PTIR. Ooh. If this does a flush, we can see this come all the way back down. It's a 2x leverage on PLTR. That can do it. PLTR can do a 40% retrace. So as a leveraged product, PTIR can see a 80%. See if this comes back to the roadmap line here. It's a 40% retrace. Which when you put it on the leverage there, 2x, that could be 80% or even more. Reddit, cool. Reddit looks like it wants to come back to the roadmap line. We do have a support zone right here at 128, 130 area. ARKB, that's just Bitcoin. Watch for that 618 retrace and the rejection. If we can break the 618, upside is like up to 170. So I am quite bullish on Bitcoin. I just very cautious right now. There's a bearish pattern set up in the short term. Amazon looks oddly like the Bitcoin chart there we just looked at and may come down to the roadmap line. Holiday spending's done. Typically, first quarter reaction, not always that bullish for Amazon. Last year, got a little pullback and then launched. Year before, pulled back in the beginning of the year. A little bit of chop. Year before that, 2022, we were already pulling back, and it led to more and more down. 2021, just chopped around a little bit. 2020, nice big fat pullback, lower low. 2019, big dip into the beginning of the year there. Christmas time, not always that bullish for Amazon, so be careful. Like, holiday spending does not have to shoot this thing higher. Could get a nice pullback. Warning, 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 warning. Nail, ooh, look at that. Lower low. How low can she go? So here's the lowest low. Here's the highest high for right now. The current price action we'll pay attention to. This could, even though this is 3x leverage on home builders, we can see this rally back up and come down here. Something like that would not surprise me one bit. Not surprise me one bit. So this high right here, this low right here, that resistance right at that 618. That's why I drew it where I drew it. So if this rallies at all, you can see it do this. That could take it most of the year, so be careful. Home builders may not be very bullish this year. SOXX, watch for that. NVIDIA, watch for that. We get below that, or getting below that roadmap line, be careful. This can set up a bigger flush on NVIDIA. FAS, like I said, watch for a potential rally here, but this may be on a path to come back down to the roadmap line. Yang. That's supposed to be China Bear 3X. Looks pretty rough. And the yen is supposed to be 3X Bulls. Looks pretty rough. I don't know that either one of these charts is really tradable. The yen or the yang, they both look pretty rough. Even though China had one of the biggest flush outs, this didn't really go anywhere. Be careful. I wouldn't chase those. PANW, probably coming back down to the roadmap line. IBM, probably coming back down to the roadmap line. AMAT, probably coming on down to the support zone, a little bit lower. BX, Blackstone, probably coming on down to the roadmap line. MSTX, like I warned, watch out for the 80% pullback. We're almost halfway there from where we were. FBTC, yep, just refreshing real quick. For those that are relatively new here, haven't been around, MSTR, circling back. This did this crazy spike. We did this consolidation here, sucked people in, and then we broke down below it, which means a lot of the time we're going to come down here, if not even lower. This is very classically called, or what I call the bubble pattern right here. This is market psychology. You can go Google this. You can find 900 examples of this. We get euphoria, people talking about how they're going to be a genius. Then we get this complacency. We just need to cool off. And then it breaks down. And that's exactly what we're seeing on MSTR right now. So be careful. We saw this on SMCI. Took place pretty much all year last year. MSTR being listed in the NASDAQ, replacing SMCI. So we have had happen over here. We got that hype. Popped up. Got that consolidation. Same way. And then we got that flush. Be careful chasing these things. Be careful chasing the hype. Now, once we get down here, it may be a buying opportunity because it could turn and burn. But be careful. FBTC. Looks like that wants to come down to the roadmap line. That's Bitcoin. Fidelity's Bitcoin ETF. XLK. Potential. Find support right there. That's technology. ETF right there for Spider. Funnel. Probably coming down to this support zone right there. GBTC. Another Bitcoin ETF. May come back to the roadmap line. When all these charts are saying, hey, Bitcoin may go to the roadmap line. All the derivatives of Bitcoin say, hey, we might go to the roadmap line. This is why I talked about it quite a bit. I'm warned about it. All these things are flagging that we might get that retrace. Now, that would be an opportunity to potentially get back in if we're going to find support there and turn higher. But it could go lower than that. All right, it doesn't have to stop there on any of these charts. LABU. That looks like it's going to flush out and go lower. ZS, it's chopping right in the middle. Target's still down here. Snow, coming back to the roadmap line. It's grinding its way down. I'm waiting for it to get down there with my alert. SMLR, this thing's doing a similar, writing a bunch of bonds and stuff. Just like MSTR. But this looks like it wants to come back to the roadmap line before we can go again. Goodness. Nice stack of alerts. NVO. Watch for that to flush on down. Right down here. VST. Watch for that to come back down to the roadmap line. FSLR. We are below the roadmap line. Watch for this deeper flush for this target that I've had on the chart for months and months now. Just looks like it wants to come on down here. I would be very careful getting sucked into a bunch of the bullishness today. While it can work out, it may rip you. Be careful. USD. Back to the roadmap line. This is just choppy sideways. This is a leveraged. That's what Ultra means. Semiconductor ETF. So just like the other ones we talked about, that one may go lower. Be careful. TQQQ. That sure does look like it wants to do that, doesn't it? I mean, we could bounce and go higher from here. It's possible. That sure does look like it wants to just finish that move up, though. QMCO, Quantum. I'd be very careful on Quantum. I had a pretty extensive conversation yesterday. And one application is just not there. And we think it's hype more than it is actual practical working technology. So be careful. Don't get sucked in. Could you make money? Sure. Could you get ripped? Yeah, you betcha. This can go lower. These all have tons of reverse splits in them. Be careful. DDOG. Back to the roadmap line. ZTS. It's got an uptrend of lows cooking right there. And if we break below it, it's going to get a bigger flush. That high, that low, this high. Could put the target down here around 100. QLD. That's Ultra QQQ, kind of like similar to TQQQ. Again, look, I mean, that just looks like it wants to drop there. We did the target off the last bounce back here in August. Got the target. Now it looks like we want to do another flush. Just, that's what it looks like. AVL, 2x leverage on AVGO. Watch for that one to come on down. TMDX. That's down here at the potential support, but if we get below that box, probably coming on down here to 28. Ultra Dow. This did the roadmap line retrace, like right there. All the rest of the market's been messing around in QES. Been messing around. Dow and Russell did the roadmap bounce, potentially. Watch for the 618. If we can break through, go on higher. If we turn down, we can make a lower low. Simple as that. So Dow and the Russell kind of in the same boat. NVIDIA, watch for this to hit the roadmap line. If we can find support here, we can rally up again, make new high. If it breaks down below, watch out for the bigger retrace. I am short NVIDIA. Out to 2027. NVDL, watch for this to break down below the roadmap line and come down further. UPro, Ultra, leverage, S&P 500, different one. Watch for that 618 retrace and the hit of the roadmap line. But if we break above, we can come on up here. Like, well, that's not very clear. Yeah, the market's not very clear right now. I feel like it's a trap, and we're going to get the bigger correction. It's just kind of seen this before. You know, it's one of those things like you're like, done this before. I've seen this before. I've seen this kind of like optimism before. Suck everybody in and then rip them. Take their money. So digital fleecing. It just feels like that kind of thing going on in the market right here today. Could have lasted a couple days. In MRA, be careful on biotech and pharma. It's one of the 4 things that doesn't always follow my patterns. Ouch. That went from $10 to $2. Ouch. 80% down. Dang. Carvana. I said it's probably coming back to the roadmap line. Now we're right there at it. If we don't hit it now, it'd be an awful waste of a correction here. Love to see it hit. Run the fib from that high down to this low. Break above the 618s and new high right there. And it goes like this. You go click on the high, click on the low. We're assuming it's going to hit. Break back above the 618s and extension out to 287, possibly 300 area. Something like that, maybe. If my low is correct. Something like that. BDMD. That sounds like medical specialty. Garbage. I would not touch this with your money. Be careful. This looks like a SPAC. Incredibly difficult to trade these things. Low price. This is low priced, under $10. That's like danger number 1. Danger number 2, medical specialty. Danger number 3, it's not even on the list. SPAC. It's a SPAC kind of price action here. can lose your money. FUL, HB Fullerton. Well, that's just been a nasty, choppy thing, and it just broke down the uptrend of the lows. That can get a bigger flush. Be careful on that one. MSTZ as MSTR plummets down to the roadmap line. This one will probably pop a little bit. Probably not giant since it's only a 2x inverse. And we don't have a ton of room left on the downside for MSTR. So this may stop somewhere around 35 if we get that further decline. MARX, Mars Acquisition Corp. Sounds like a SPAC to me. I don't know anything about this one, so I would just not. I would not. That's what. Don't get sucked in the hype. FUTU, boom, right back to the roadmap line. If we find support, turn back higher, get above the 618. We can go higher, bigger targets. All right, there are no bonus trades today. Nothing fired off on New Year's Eve. Be careful out there. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning. We'll go through the whole list again. If I said anything that was helpful, beneficial, give me a thumbs up on the video. Comment down below after I'm no longer live. I'll be hanging out in Discord. I have a offer for Triple Threat coming up at 4 p.m. today after the market closes. If you want to come see me, I'll throw the links in Telegram and in Discord. Remember, my team writes most of my Telegram stuff. I throw a few things over there for them to post, but if you want to interact with me directly, the place to be is Discord or right here on YouTube. You can leave me a comment. I'll do my best to answer it in a timely manner. Have a great day out there. Stay safe. Let's have a good 2025. First day of the trading year. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you later.